Hi, and welcome back to the third episode of our run through with Empyrion. So where we are is, if you look at the top right, we've got 7 hours 45 minutes until the start of day 3. But what we want to do today is go into manufacturing mode because we spent the first couple of days running around getting resources. So if we just look at this constructor here, we've got a bunch of silicon, which is just finished cooking, a bunch of iron, a bunch of copper ingot, and a bunch of copper substrate. Over here, we've got a bunch of biofuel going, and we've also got oxygen and purified water. This is all of the things that are perishable. We made a bunch of meds as well. But let's start putting some of these resources to use. Now, one of the first things that we want to do is we're going to have to start unlocking things in the tech tree. So if we hit F3, now one of the first things that we probably want to do, it's going to be under weapons for some reason, but it's armor right here. So we want to use a couple of points to unlock that, and we can get it cooking immediately. So let's do that. So let me see, which one is it in? Oh, under weapons again. All right, so that's making now. All right, so we will have some armor in a minute. Now, the next thing we want to be doing is looking at getting a vehicle. So I've got a choice here. If you just go into F3, you could go for a hover vessel or a small vessel. Now, I'm going to go for a small vessel. So let's just press F2, and that puts you into your choices. I'm just going to click this tab here because I've downloaded a couple. And this one just gives you all of the stock blueprints here. So these are the ones that you'll see as available. So what you want to be doing here is starting a new game in Creative and just download, because you can then spawn in everything here. And then just spawn in all the T1 and possibly even T2s and just see which one you like the most. And then once you've decided on that, just pick one. Now for me, I'm just going to go to small vessels here. Going to hit that tab. So this just limits the list to the small vessels. Now I'm going to go for this one just because it's one I've used before and I quite like. But this is one of the recent changes that, or rather one of the changes since version 1.8. Now we used to be able to just add this to factory immediately, i.e. as soon as we put the gubbins in here, we could actually start making it. But now we have to unlock all of the tech that's included in this vehicle, which kind of makes sense. So it says the following 16 devices need to be unlocked in the tech tree. We just need to flick between F3 and F2. So just basically go through all of the list here and then go and unlock it. Now, all of this, well, actually all of it except for one is going to be, if we just go to F3, it's going to be under small vessel. Now, the one that isn't under small vessel, if we just go to miscellaneous, it's going to be this one, wireless connection. I guess because it applies to everything. So I'm going to unlock that one. Now the rest will just be in the small vessel. And if you go through the list, what you'll see is that RCS is there. So we have to unlock generator to get to it. Detector is there. Gatling gun is there. Fuel tank is there. Armor locker is there, so we have to go through O2 station to get to armor locker. Cargo boxes is there, and we do have an ammo controller and a container controller and also container extensions. But you can see all this in the list if you just went through this. We've got 5 to go. Now what else? We've got a fridge on it. We don't have one of those. Now we do have thrusters up to this level. We don't have that. We don't have this. Don't have that. We do have landing gears. And we do have spotlights. Alright, so let's just pop back to F2. Alright, so that was everything. But if you don't remember all that, you just go through the list that it gives you and just go one by one and you just pop it backwards and forwards between F2 and F3. So now we can just add it to factory, which we will do. So now it's just saying that the resources required are this. So carbon substrate, copper, silicon, and iron. And you just have to dump it into here. So let's go get all of our, firstly, substrate, copper, iron, and silicon. So back to F2, and it will still come up with this screen. So the first thing we want is iron ingot. We want 58. Now we could actually dump all of this in here, in there. But I don't want to do that because we're probably going to need some iron for some other things. So I just want to separate. It's that 57, so we just need one more. So if we just right mouse click here, it'll just drop one more in there. And that's our iron ingot done. So silicon, 116. So all I'm doing is just right mouse click here and dragging, and it separates half the stack. So that's 112, right mouse click as well, 13, 14, 15, 16. So that's our silicon. Now copper is 158, that's 156, 157, 158. Carbon substrate, pretty much all of our carbon substrate here. But we'll be able to get a lot more quite soon. So there we go. So now we can start production, and total production time is 19 minutes. Now we haven't used any console commands to date. I'm just going to use one now actually. So if we hit the tilde key, which is on my keyboard at least, the key below the escape key in the top left hand corner. And what we can do is we can input the command FBP, which stands for Finish Blueprint. Enter, and then it does it immediately. So that way we don't have to wait. So let's go back to F2, and we've now got our completed Polaris Scout without having to wait 19 minutes. So just left mouse click on that, spawn, and we just have to find somewhere where it glows green. So, 2, I think. Just wait a moment for the landing gear to come out, and then it'll settle down. All right, and there's our small vehicle. Now it's going to take some fuel, and it's going to take 60. So let's just take all this. We can put all this back actually. We don't need it on us anymore. Okay, landing gear is down. So to get in, we just press F to pilot the small vessel. Now what we want to do is we want to press P, and that brings us up to the main dashboard. And this is where we can manage everything like ammunition, oxygen, fuel, and pentaxid. Now this here, the pentaxid, that is for when we go warping, and we're not going to be doing that in the near future. So we can ignore that one. Oxygen, we don't need to bother with right now because we're on a breathable planet. So the only two we really need to deal with are ammunition and fuel right now. We can power down. Well, it's not using any fuel because we don't have any, but let's turn the power off anyway. It's a good habit to do so that we don't drain the battery, or rather drain all the fuel off. So let's just click manage on this. Now it's going to take 60 to fill it up. We may as well, so let's do that. Then we can go back to logistics. So that's it with our fuel. Next thing we're going to need is some bullets. Now, let's get out of it. Well, firstly, let's just do a couple more things. One of the first things you want to do is press save template, because that basically just saves the vehicle in its current state. So that if you get damaged later on, we are going to have the facility to repair to template, which means that if it gets damaged, we can just go to one of those facilities, basically a space station or something like that, and repair it back to as it is right now. So you want to be hitting that save template every time you make major changes. Now, another thing that we want to do with this, apart from the ammunition, is if we just go to P and we do power up, you look in the top right there, you've got maximum speed of 55 miles per hour. Now, small vehicles will go up to 70 on planet. So what we need to do is add some thruster power there to get up to maximum speed. So what I'm going to do is just power down again, F to get out. Now, one way we can do this is, there's our thruster there, or rather a rear-facing thruster. And it's a thruster M, and what we can actually do is make another one of those and just bolt it onto the back, and that'll get us up to maximum speed. So that's something we're going to do. But one thing that you need to always be aware of, let's just go back into here, the small vehicle. We just go P again. If you look at this CPU thing here, now this is like a weight limit. So it means that if we add things to the vehicle, like the thruster and anything else, this number here is going to go up. Now we've currently got a 6,000 weight limit, and the heavier we get, then the CPU efficiency will drop. And what happens there is that the vehicle gets slower and also a little bit more sloppy to handle. Basically, the thrusters lose efficiency. So what we would have to do there is buy a CPU upgrade, and that would then raise this 6,000 to 15,000. But for the time being, we don't need to worry about that until we start adding things. But we are just considering adding a thruster, and that's going to keep us under 6,000. But I also want to add a few more things, which is going to put us a little bit over 6,000. But as long as we don't go too far over 6,000, then our CPU efficiency stays at about 100%, as we will see. Okay, well, let's get out. But we are unable to make thrusters in these types of... oh, we can only make the thruster S. Okay. So you can make thrusters here, but not the one we want. And that's a hover vehicle as well. If you just look down to the placeable line there, it says HV. And we want an SV. Let's just make sure we're on the same tab there. So we need to upgrade our capacity to be able to make things. And there's our light armor, by the way. So let's take that. Now, armor, you can't put it on without an armor locker. So you can't just slap it on. You have to have an armor locker either in a base or somewhere. It just so happens that this vehicle here has one. So if we just get inside and we go P again, and this time we just want to go on this devices tab. And if you look down, you'll see this armor locker here. So if you access that, then we can use this to put our armor on and off. There we go. So we've now got our armor on. So we've got an armor value of 100. There's the durability and all the stats. Things like comfort zone just increased. We've got some radiation protection now. So a bunch of other things just happened as well. But we do have a higher food consumption rate when we're wearing armor. So we will see our hunger drop faster, among other things. But that's all the stats that it gives you. All right, let's get out there. But one thing that we can do now, now that we've got the armor on, is we can get rid of this flashlight. And we could trash it. It's not worth anything because the helmet here does have a light on. So that's just the L key. A couple of other things. If you look in the bottom left there, the top line, the one just above the health bar, if you look on the left-hand side there, it's got a jetpack. Now, if you press the J key, it turns the jetpack on. So without that on, we're just limited to our normal jump there. With the jetpack on, then it gives us some thrust upwards. So that's the main two things with the armor. You also have this U key as well, which takes your helmet on and off. I don't think that's particularly useful, but you see that takes the helmet off, puts it back on again. So let's just press L to get our light back on. So that's the armor anyway. There are three types of armor: light, medium, and heavy. We'll shortly be finding some medium and or heavy armor, so we're stuck with the light for now, but it'll do us. But a couple of things that we need on here. We need that thruster, but we also need some bullets, because it's pointless having the guns if we don't have the bullets. So we need to start putting some base gear together. So we're going to go back to the tech tree here and go F3. Now under base, we need to upgrade our constructor to this one here, small constructor. So I'm going to unlock that. But the thing is, once we put this down, it's not going to work until we have a core placed down. So core, you have to go to this thing here and just type in core. And then you'll see it under this tab here. So you have to place one of these down to be able to get any placeables working. So back to F3. We got our core coming. So once we've got the small constructor made, actually let's get that going now, because we did just unlock it. Oh, let's try that again. Okay. So there's the small constructor that we just unlocked. I want to get that going as well. So that's incoming. Now the constructor is not going to work without energy. So if we just go back to the tech tree, so we have the small constructor unlocked, but it needs a generator because it needs energy input. And you get that from generators. So we're going to unlock the small generator here. So let's get that going as well. So just check the placeables line, make sure this is the right one. Placeable base DB, yes it is. So that's our small constructor, that's our generator, core is incoming. But generator's not going to work without fuel. So let's go back to F3. So we're going to need one of these, fuel tank. So let's unlock that. So once we've got all those things placed down, then we'll be good to go, except once we have the small constructor, it's going to say, where do I find all the things that I make stuff with? So we're going to need a cargo box for that because we don't currently have any. So we also have to unlock that one there, cargo boxes. Right, so let's get back to here and let's make that cargo box. And just make sure you pick the right one here, because this one here, if you look on the placeable line, that's for SV small vehicle and HV hover vehicle. That one won't work, so we want this one here, which is base and CB. Right, and the only other thing remaining is the fuel tank. And again, make sure you pick the right one here. So this is SVHV, we don't want that one. Fuel tank T1 base CB, we want that one. All right. So once all these are made, we can start to place them, and then we'll have a constructor that we can start to make things like the thruster that we need, but also the 15mm ammo that we need. So let's just wait till those things finish. Okay, everything's just completed. So we've now got our core, the 5 things that we need: core, small constructor, generator, cargo box, and fuel tank. So let's start placing this down. Now in the olden days, probably I think it was pre 1.6, you had to be careful at this stage, because as soon as you put a core down, like as soon as we did that, then you'd get this message if you went to P and statistics. Down here, you get a message that the Xerax were going to attack within 3 days. Now that doesn't happen anymore because there's no drone base on this island, so there's no problems anymore. But that used to be how it was, no longer. All right, now we need the generator down, so let's place this. This does generate some radioactivity, radiation, so let's put it back here. It doesn't really matter where it goes. Okay, constructor. Again, doesn't really matter where we go. Now, as far as rotating stuff, for example, if we wanted to rotate this, so that block of keys where you've got a block of 6 keys, kind of on the right-hand side of the keyboard, it's got insert, home, page up, delete, end, page down. So if you hit the end key, it's going to rotate it. So that's probably where we want it. Left mouse click to place. Done. So there's our constructor. We got our core. You could place all these down without the core, but they won't work. Constructor won't work. Now what else? Fuel tank. So let's put it there, I guess. And the one thing remaining is going to be the cargo box. So that will fit in there. Okay, done. Okay, so to work the constructor here, it's going to ask us, where do I find all the materials that you want me to work with? So we have to pick, we've only got one cargo box, the one we just put down, so we have to pick that one, and it will output into the same box. So basically it will look into here for all the materials. So what we can do now is take all of this and move it into the cargo box. So let's do that. Done. So now this is where it's taking its input from, but it's also using the same box for output, which is fine for now. But none of this is going to work without fuel. So let's give this thing some fuel. So you need to be watching this because if it does run out of fuel, everything stops. I think about 10%, maybe a little bit more. That'll do. Okay. All right, so now we've got our upgraded constructor and it's got some fuel and we can start to use it. So what we needed was a thruster. So I'm just going to go into small vehicles. Sorry, that one. Small vehicles. And we wanted a thruster M. And that's this thing. Because once we put that on the back, then that's going to get us to the maximum of 70, what was it, meters per second or whatever it was. But we can't go faster than that, so that's fine. But another thing I want to do with this, it does have Gatling guns here. But to use those, it's kind of point and shoot, and that you have to manually fire them. So I want something that's going to fire automatically. So if we just go back to F3 and small vessel. So these are the Gatling guns we've already got on the SV. I want one of these because these are automatic. They fire automatically at enemies. It's not something we have to manually fire. So I'm going to unlock that. Looking at the points here, we're down to 27. Now, we couldn't have made one of those turrets there either. So let's get a turret going as well. So we're still on small vehicles here. That's going to be under weapons. That's one of those. So normally I put 2 on, but the thing there is if you, the vehicle as it stands, if we just go back in and press P and into main. So we just added the thruster. Oh no, sorry, we're only making the thruster, but when we add the thruster and the turret, this is going to go over 6,000. Now, if we add a second turret, CPU efficiency is going to drop. So we can only handle 1 turret right now. So the only thing that we can do if we wanted to add the second turret, and we'll do this later, is if we just go to F3 and we're still under small vessel here, we would have to buy the next grade of CPU here. But we can't make this in this particular constructor. We would have to make the next level of constructor. So going back to F3 and base, we would have to upgrade this one here. In fact, we may as well unlock that now anyway, because it's probably worth... We've actually got a choice here. We absolutely don't need to build base on Aqua, because we'll likely have our longer term base elsewhere. And for now, just plonking stuff down like this works fine. And we could just leave it this way, and we'll be able to pick stuff up later and take it to wherever we choose to make a base. But if we wanted to, and it's just a nice to have, we could build a small base here on Aqua, just so we got some walls around us and everything gets a little bit tidier. So that's really just I guess, a lifestyle choice that you can make here, whether you just live with this or you put a base together. What I'll do is I'll put a base together anyway, just because it's not really that expensive to do, and it's just a nice to have walls around you. And then we can move everything into the base. So we'll plan on doing that. But anyway, if we go back to F3, there are a couple of tools that we need to upgrade. Remember, using the can't remember what it's called, the survival tool to do the digging. That was a little bit of a pain. So what we want to do is we want to upgrade here to the drill. Let's unlock that. Uses 10 of our remaining 20 points, but we also want a multi-tool. So I'm going to unlock that as well. So multi-tool and drill. So if you go to this thing here and you type in drill, you'll see that we actually cannot make it here. We can make the drill charges, but we can't make the drill. It won't let us. So for that, we are going to have to make the advanced constructor. And that's why we just unlocked it. So let's do that, because we do have the gubbins to make it. So we've got the small constructor here at the moment. What we want is the large constructor. So let's get one of those going. And then once we've got that, we will be able to make a drill. But what we're going to find is that we've got a few materials short. So anyway, while we're waiting for that, we can pick up our thruster and place it We could also place our Gatling gun. So let's just get our survival tool out. We're going to go to salvage mode, first time ever, because I want to. Let's get up here. I want to put the turrets here and here. Well, once we've got two of them, I want to put them there and there. And to do that, we're going to have to remove this here, which reduces a bit of weight on the thing, but this is also in the way of where we want our turrets to be. Let's just do the other side as well. Right, done. So let's just get our thruster added anyway. Now, if you look at that green vertical line there, that's the axis of rotation. So if we press the end key here, you'll see that it rotates about that line. If you press the delete key, which is to the left of the end key there, it changes the axis of rotation to that. Then if we press the end key, it rotates it the way we want it. And for now, we'll just stick it there. So we've now got our two engines there. Now, if we go back to the cabin, and we go P and we power up, there you go, top right, you've got maximum 70 meters per second now. I presume that's meters per second. So that's the maximum. That's as fast as we can go. All right, I did leave the power on, but that's fine. Now, the minigun turret. So we could put that either side. It doesn't really matter too much. So I'm going to put it there. All right. Actually, before we do anything else, making the bullets takes a while. So I'm just going to get it going on the bullets. It's not doing anything else right now. So it's 15 millimeter. Now we need nitrocellulose. Now that is made with, I'm going to have to take the wood out of there actually. Use all of it. Put it into our cargo box because that's used to make nitrocellulose. So 15 again. Back to the weapons and items tab. Now each one of these, that's going to give us 100 there. But we want more than that. That's 1,000. Just going shift and left mouse click. That's a shade over 2,000. Which should be enough. We'll get through that quite quickly because this thing uses a lot of bullets. All right, so let's we've got our ammunition coming. We've just put our turret on. As mentioned, we can't put two on for this reason here. If we just go back to P, you see that we're now over the CPU limit of 6,000, and there's really nothing we can do about that. As mentioned, we could buy the next CPU level of CPU tier 2, but we can't do that at the moment. So we're down to 84%. So if you look in the top right there, it still shows us that we still have the maximum speed of 70 meters per second. If we put a second turret on, that will drop to, I think it was about 60 when I did it. So we're going to leave it with one turret. And one turret's enough, actually. Okay, power's still on, but that's okay. So this is going on the ammunition, which is fine. Now drill and that's our main need here. So we want to place down the large constructor. So let's do that. Put it somewhere. Okay, N key again to rotate. Fine. And just like the other one, it's going to ask us, where do I find the things that you want me to make stuff with? If you press F here, do we have to pick our cargo box again? So this is where it's going to look for all of the things. So what did we want to do here? We wanted to make a drill. So we can now make a drill at this level of constructor. The only problem is we need an energy matrix. Now, let's input energy matrix. And that's, we're going to need those in a minute, but energy matrix, that thing there. So you can see the crafting input items. We need cobalt to make this, and we don't have cobalt right now because all we've done today is gather copper, silicon, iron, and carbon substrate. So we're going to have to go find some cobalt to do this. But while we're here, I'm going to make 2 of these anyway, because if we just go back to F3 in tools, the multi-tool here, if you look at the ammunition, it needs its energy cells, and we just made a couple of those. So we can make the multi-tool, I think. Yep. Because that doesn't need anything new. So we have the multi-tool, we have the ammunition for the multi-tool, or the fuel for it, but it's the cobalt that we need. Now, next thing that we're going to want to be doing here is we want to go off and find a few more resources, because another thing that what we could do is go get the key matrix and then head into the obelisk here. And then we could, if you just go to M and the Saturn thing, we could start planet hopping. But I'm just going to deliberately keep everything on Aqua. Just for why not. And we can get cobalt here, and we can also get titanium and also neodymium, or whatever that's called. Another thing that we would like to make is an EVA, because once we get into space, this will give us protection from the cold up there. But if you look down at the crafting, we need gold. Now we can also find gold on Aqua. So the next step is going to be to run around and find gold and a few other resources. I'm going to end the episode there because we ran unexpectedly long. So what I'll do in the next episode is we will go and get all of the resources that we need to complete the manufacturing process and get things like the drill, and also put a base down, just because it will be nice to have some walls around us. And then we'll be able to move on to the POIs, and we'll do that in the next couple of episodes. So thanks for watching this one, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.